So the next step now is talk about the net present value factor.
Oh, just a second. Bill, we haven't defined this for the students yet, the net present value factor. Can you please describe it?
I would love to. Let me, because I don't want anybody getting confused by this. So, the net present value is to try to bring every number here we're going to bring back into today's dollars at year 0. So, when we think about this is going to be right here. It's going to be 238. That will be 238. But these are going to be discounted out here by some factor. So in year 1, we have $56. That's because of 50% cost of capital. That's going to be discounted by 50%. So we're going to see this is the net present value factor. So as you go out here, this is going to be discounted even more.
Yeah.
So that it will be 53 times 25 will give us the number down
and
here.
And if the cost of capital number was different, the values in the net present value factor would also be different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, this is saying this was, you know, $1 here is worth $1.50 there. So we have to discount it by 50%, or we have to increase by 50%. So that each term, this number will get smaller and smaller, as Alessandro will show you. And this is simply a proxy to help you calculate. What you're really looking for is, I want to know what every number here is in dollars today.
Yeah.
So Alessandro is going to do is he's going to take the number up here in the profits, and he's going to multiply it by the net present value factor, and that will give the net present value.
Mm-hmm. But would it be right to say to the student, don't be bogged down by this. The net present value factor is not the main driver.
It's not.
It's just a tool to get to the NPV.
Exactly. It's just meant to help you to say, this number times this factor will give you what it is in today's dollars.
Great, thank you.
Back to you, Alessandro.
So now you have what you need to calculate your NPV, right?
Exactly. And as Bill mentioned, we're starting with 100% as a baseline and discounting as we go. And the last thing we need to do to get to the net present value is, multiply all these numbers together. So multiply, the sum of the profits by the net present value and the cost of capital. And this is what we get down the line. Again, this net present value is also going to reflect the way we generate revenue year after year. And that's why year 3 is slightly bigger than year 2.
Right.
Because we get the second sale of the wearable.
And even though those numbers stand in the columns representing the years, they're actually money in today's dollars.
Exactly.
So now you can add all of those dollars up.
Exactly. So the last thing we need to do is add up all these numbers to get our LTV in today's value. Dan, would you do the honors?
Absolutely.
So for us, it adds up to $305, but what it means is that it's roughly going to be around $300.
And essentially, the way you're thinking about this is the customer you acquire today, that triathlete who is a semi-professional, when that person becomes your customer, that customer is worth around $300 to you.
Exactly.
And Bill, this is, suddenly Dan and Alessandro are getting much closer to understanding whether the business can be sustainable.
Right. And it's not just the $300 here. They're understanding what's driving that. They have a high cost of capital. That's hurting the outside. That's hurting the numbers in the out years. It's this repurchase rate. If we could get this subscription revenue that's high margin. So they're gaining this deep understanding of their business, which is really going to help them as they start going forward, and they have to tweak the business to make it sustainable, or they want to make it more profitable. They now have this fundamental understanding of what their business is all about, and why cost of capital is important, and why gross margin is important, and why getting that recurring revenue is so important.
And you guys are still early in your venture, but it's impressive that you've been able, despite of the fact that you're still early, to actually get to those numbers. And our students now would wonder, how did you do it? So why don't you come on back and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the how.
Let's do it, and let's take Bill back too.
Yeah, bring him back.
With all due respect, and I do mean it with all due respect.
He needs to come home.